Hello and welcome to a podcast with no theme, no direction, and 3 hosts with no idea what they're doing. It is currently 2:32 a.m. and you're listening to the late night ramblings of madmen. We are back, folks. Super excited to be back making another episode.
What is up, California?
I am your host for today, Grant, joined by Andrew and John. How are we doing today, fellas?
Yeehaw!
I'm doing pretty swell myself.
Yeah, so you may have noticed by just looking at our upload schedule or whatever that, yes, we did miss last week. That was because Andrew was sick, and, we need all of our madmen here to make a truly spicy podcast, so we didn't want to do it without him. But we are back, and so, yeah, I basically had to just redo all the sports section and everything, but I got it under control. I think these guys have their stuff together as much as Mad Men can, and yeah, I think we are ready. If you guys are, any first thoughts? Any first thoughts?
Yeah, I do want to mention this is something we're doing. This doesn't really fit with the sports segment because that's more like sports news, I guess. But we have our own March Madness bracket.
Don't spoil it.
On.
Don't spoil it. I will. I'll get to that. I got that.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh man. Yeah, I know you're just chomping at the bit to get to that one, aren't you?
Oh, I am.
Yeah. Okay. Well, without further ado, Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing we wanted to talk about today on our Not a Minecraft and Not a Gaming podcast was, guys, what do we really think Minecraft needs? I mean, we have talked about the good and the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you will, of the latest Tales and Trails update. And we've hated on some, we've said others that are okay, but what do we really think that, and I'll start with you on this, Andrew. What do you think Minecraft really needs to improve its flagging viewership on YouTube and its almost stagnant media presence in general?
Okay, so the only thing I could propose, this is more from a developmental side, make infrequent small updates. And just get rid of the new, for a while, I would say, get rid of the new, like, the big hype, like, yearly-ish updates. And don't get rid of them until they actually have something of substance to work on and present.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's the main thing to do. Also, no more mob vote. Burn it.
Please.
Which actually is something to mention. I 100% believe that, was rigged, the sniffer. Like, okay, think about this, Grant. Let me give you these choices. You can have one of these in Minecraft. He's a little dude. He's cool, and you can get like an iron pickaxe. He's in caves, You can get he's like a little golem guy, moves around, like a shelf, whatever. Or you can have a prehistoric mob from the lands before time who can look around to get exotic plants for you. You have to get him in an oxygen-less environment because he's a dinosaur in Minecraft. Which one of those do you want?
I'd take the little tough golem dude,
Oh, tough golem.
But
Minecraft mob voters, the developers just hate golems because, like, tough golem, copper golem, they just don't like them. They just don't.
Well, the thing is, too, what I was trying to sort of, I guess, show with that was, like they basically overplayed the sniffer in a lot of ways that they didn't with the other ones. But yeah, that's about all I have to say on that topic.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna kind of say something similar. I think, yeah, number one, just get rid of the mob vote. I went into this last episode, so I think after this one, you should definitely go and check that out. I feel like I always end up plugging the previous episode at some point, and that's great. But anyways, I did go into this last week, so I'm not going to go over it again. But basically, Mojang, don't give us the decision if we don't actually have it, okay? If we all want something, then don't give us the option to have something else because that's only going to cause controversy. And That's just not. I mean, they say no press is bad press, but in today's cancel culture, that's just not true. And so, yeah, just burn the mob vote. It's just not productive. It's not causing any goodwill towards the developers or the fan base. It's only dividing everyone. But as to what Minecraft,
did you guys hear about C418?
No. What?
I'm interested in this. Wait a minute.
So
what happened?
You guys know who C418 is, right?
Oh yes, the creator of one of the greatest soundtracks in video game history.
He was hired. So when Minecraft was in its early days, I'm actually really kind of mad at Microsoft for this. In its early days, he was hired twice for Album 1 and Album 2. He wanted to do a third album for Mojang, for Minecraft again. But the way that his contract says is that he keeps the right for his music. So instead of, if you go on Spotify right now and search up, like the Minecraft soundtrack, it's from C418, not Mojang, but from the original artist, which is why Microsoft has such a big deal with it. They want control over the music, which is why they've stopped going to C418 with the music. What do you guys think about that?
That's pretty dirty pool. I mean, that's just kind of being selfish, really. It's really just
from this standpoint, though. These aren't people who care about anything. These are like scum of the earth lizard people because they're in a big tech job, right? Now, I'm not saying all Microsoft employees. I'm talking about like the higher ups
chill,
who
bro.
control
You
this.
do not need to go that hard, bro.
Like the real higher up type people. They're not thinking about the game. It's more, okay, think about Jeb, right? Not Jeb. Well, Notch. Excuse me. I mean to offend him. But Notch, he probably didn't have much money to actually pay for a score. So he was letting that guy take a gamble by him keeping the rights to his music, which I think more game developers should definitely do. And I agree that it's scummy, but I just don't think it could go any other way. But I'm surprised they wouldn't just like do it, but with a different deal with C418. Instead of okay, no shade to either of the two composers. They're amazing composers, like absolutely wonderful. But the problem is they just don't sound like Minecraft.
Pigstep is amazing, though. I love Pigstep.
Pigstep is like the black sheep out of all the news.
That's true.
Songs.
Other Side was good too, though. Other than that, I don't really listen to the new soundtrack, but I can't tell you how many hours I've studied with Volume Alpha and Volume Beta. Love it so much. So nostalgic. Hardly any skips.
He says, so he can't actually say much about it because of NDAs and stuff like that, but he says, vaguely, that he kind of has a third album ready, but that's all he can talk about.
Well,
he's just tired of
that's pretty cool.
To 10 lawyers before he can, like, it's a game of telephone between lawyer after lawyer after lawyer before it can get
as it always is.
Also, I don't necessarily fully blame Microsoft, because since they own Minecraft as a property, they want to keep the music because it's good revenue, you know?
That's true.
So,
fair enough.
If all of a sudden...
I can confirm, it is probably one of the most worth buying soundtracks of all time.
Yeah, but it doesn't go to the game, it goes to the artist.
Yeah, I can see that.
Personally,
I mean,
I'm kind of split between the middle. Because on one hand, I'm not, because I'm trying to celebrate the game, but I'm going to the artist who made the music to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
technically you're supporting both if you do that.
Yeah, I'd still love to see C418's return. I think guys like Samuel Oberg and whoever do a good job with the new soundtrack, but it just doesn't hit as hard as the original two albums. But going back to what Minecraft needs, I think they could definitely stand from getting C418 back in there. That'd be a very good PR move, even if they have to give up the rights. you got to kind of take a step back and think about the goodwill that this will produce and see the money that you're giving up as a sacrifice for marketing. And, that would be everybody would love it if he came back. And because his songs are so nostalgic and he really knows what he's doing. He's a really good musician, but I think they should just take a step back and kind of see this, and then maybe they could justify it to Microsoft as saying, well, it would create a lot of goodwill, and, with goodwill comes good money, and, I'm not saying people would play it for the new soundtrack, but there might be some out there, and it would just, and Minecraft and Microsoft are not really the most popular things, specifically Microsoft, not really the most popular thing in the Minecraft community. So if they let C418 come back, I think that'd be a really good PR move on their part.
Yeah.
And as for the game, one final thing, I know my point's kind of taken a lot of time because of our awesome tangent. I had to call it awesome because, I know it's ramblings, but that doesn't mean we can't stay on subject. But I think the end update, I've said this before. I'm not making any new points here. The end update, you look at how much Minecraft has grown since everybody first started playing. Well, every older, young person started playing, 10 years ago or whatever. You look at how, much the game has changed. We've got, it all just looks so much different. And the overworld is, very vibrant with different biomes. And now we've got new ones. And, the mangrove swamp just came out. And the overworld is constantly expanding, constantly getting better with every new texture pack that comes out from mods and from the official Mojang developers. It's just getting better and better. And then the Nether update obviously got the huge update, or the Nether got the huge update back in 2019 or 2020 or whenever. That totally revolutionized how it looked. It didn't just look like a barren landscape. It actually had different biomes and stuff. And then you go to the end. And it literally looks like it's the same. It looks the same as it did back then. Everything about the game has grown, but for whatever reason, the end is just stuck in 2012. And I don't know why we haven't addressed this yet. I know I've heard a little bit about a potential end update coming in the future, but why are we wasting time with camels and cherry blossoms when the end is in desperate need of a facelift? It just looks so ugly, and there's so much you could do because it's such a blank slate. You could literally make any sort of biome, and I've seen some kind of concept designs of how it could look, and it could be a really cool thing and really motivate people to go to the end and spend more time in the end rather than just killing the dragon, getting the elytra, and getting out. You could actually, kind of set up shop there, or at least spend more time exploring it, sort of like how people do with the Nether. You used to just go in and get some stuff, get out. But now you can actually explore the biomes, and I've seen people you can live in the Nether, because you can find a way to grow food or whatever. And then why doesn't the end? Why is nobody talking about this? Maybe people are. Maybe I'm just behind the times. But I just feel like this is a big thing that we need to address. It's a big hole in the Minecraft just visual aesthetic. I don't even know. It's just, why are people talking about this?
I've seen a few people talk about it.
Yeah, I know
people are talking about it.
People are talking about it, but nobody's doing anything. How long have people? I've seen people have been talking about it for years. We've discussed a potential end update for years now. But what I mean by that is that Mojang is just not, the developers aren't really paying attention to that, and they're not concentrating their efforts. I think they could really help the game.
You know what would break the actual internet?
What?
Okay, do you all know about the whole Ether update thing where everyone would try to put the...
Yeah, it's the glowstone.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yay!
You know the guy who created that mod? He is a Mojang employee.
Oh yeah, King B-Dogs.
Oh my gosh. You don't mean...
If they were to add the Ether as the new realm to Minecraft, it would shatter the internet. People would lose their crap. Because if they're already going to make it modded, just add the mod we've all wanted.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. And
yeah.
the thing
you want to talk about good PR moves.
maybe they won't do it like that, and it's fine. But what they definitely need to do is, here's something to think about too, right? People have always talked about, oh, we're going to be getting a new portal because there's an unbreakable block in a big square in the below place, what's it called, the Deep Dark, the ancient cities, right? So people are thinking we're getting a new biome, but the only thing about that is what would it be? Because you know how there's people who are always saying, oh yeah, this is what it would look like. It would be the like deep dark world or whatever. Like you would go through the portal, it would be where all the deep dark stuff came from. I don't think that would be what it is. Because why would they just why if they already have this whole biome, why would they make an extra world of it? Think about how boring that would be. I think if they do something through that portal, it would have to be something entirely new. The only question now, what can they add?
I don't know.
Really interesting if
upside down
a thing that was the opposite of the skulk. So it was like the opposite of the overworld.
If you aren't making noise, the warden comes after you. Oh man.
What if it was actually imprisoned in the dimension?
Huh.
Because the warden's name is the warden, and wardens, they hold down, like, they protect prisons.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep those inmates in check.
Huh. So maybe like a giant prison dimension for like all these. That would actually be sort of fun. Almost
just like cop and robber villagers.
But no. But not even that. Like I'm thinking how many, like if they added like 5 bosses or whoever that you could go through, almost make it like almost like a JRPG or like some kind of like adventure game.
That's dangerous territory because it's a survival game. It's a sort of creative survival game.
You just go into the dimension and it boots up Terraria.
Almost. Like, and you could like go through all the prison cells or whatever and like, sort of fight little mini bosses like the warden or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit too. I could see that as being a bit too gutsy and a bit too out there for Minecraft developers. Funky. But that would be a cool idea. What else would you do? Yeah, cop and robber villagers. That's lame. But like
that would be a prison dimension. Like that's not what John means. I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, John. I would imagine
not a prison dimension, but the warden is like the prison itself doesn't look like the dimension itself doesn't look like a prison.
The
dimension is the prison for whatever's inside. So it could be like the Red Dragon or something.
And what's inside but bosses, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying Ultrasaur, so
I'm not saying, I'm just saying. And also the Ultrasaur comes up once again.
Is the Ultrasaur findable in Minecraft? Because he's not here anymore. I mean, his bones are, but the Ultrasaur is too powerful to be killed by merely colliding with a planet. No.
They stored him in a pocket dimension.
They stored him in a pocket dimension, and Mojang has been trying to show us how to get to him and to achieve eternal happiness, which is what would happen if you were to find him. I can only imagine. So Mojang's been trying to tell us, boys, but that's where they got bought by Microsoft. They wanted to shut them up. The lizard people who run our government also worked for Microsoft, and
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the Nether, what is it? The Soul Sand Valleys is where they keep most of the remains that make it whole.
Yeah, those are the graveyards.
Because of all the
Those are the graveyards. Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. Like you'd basically like build a skeleton or whatever, which you could put. Genius. You'd have to, if you wanted to find like some kind of Ultrasaur or whatever, you'd basically have to take the bones from like the Soul Sand Valleys, and maybe as a little tie-in, you could have the archaeology stuff, the little stuff you find, whatever, as, I don't know, some sort of trigger or whatever, or maybe you could find bones there too, and then you can like put all the pieces of the puzzle together. That's a pretty good way to make a somewhat useless update not useless. That's all I'm saying, I think that could work. I think it could. Let's call Mojang, guys. Episode 100.
Episode 100. Yeah. I think we should storm Mojang and demand the Red Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
leave that up to you.
I'll go get the
in
stuff.
Minecraft. Boys, when we make all of our criminal plans, let's make sure to say in Minecraft afterward.
Yes.
For instance, we'll go to Mojang.
This is a joke.
We will storm the Mojang offices in Minecraft. We will
build them and
circle
then
the compound, move in at various hit points, put the hostages in one area in Minecraft, and
the villagers.
Yeah, the villagers. We corral the hostages in Minecraft, and until they code in the Red Dragon, we will continue to ban the hostages from the server one by one in Minecraft until they add the Red Dragon. So episode 100, boys. That's what we're going to do in Minecraft.
That sounds like
for the dragon.
Very interesting. What?
You talk about video games causing violence, they bring up like Call of Duty, but I've done much more demented things in Minecraft than like any other game.
I don't really know how to transition to the mod of the week from that. So
yeah. Oh, dude, there were so many ways. Just bring up mods. Talk about Minecraft.
Okay, fine. I didn't want to. Okay, fine. I didn't want to.
Speaking of quote unquote villagers,
I could have if I had tried.
This mod of the week is okay. If you ever have any mod on a server to keep it like kind of vanilla, but like an everyday thing of life, it is the Easy Villagers mod. And oh my gosh, this thing is a lifesaver. You can pick up villagers like blocks. So you shift and right click and they go into your inventory.
That's sort of weird when you think about it, but that's awesome.
Maybe my favorite mod I've ever seen.
I mean, it's kind of weird when you think about it.
And really cool thing, you don't have to break the block and place it back down to refresh their trade. There's a little refresh icon on the trade thing if you haven't traded with them. That you can press that button and it will refresh the trade for the villager. You can, like, something really cool, you can automize them, too. So you can create little, like, stand things to where you can put, like, a block in. Let's say a smithing table and put in a villager. It'll automatically go to that smithing table. And they even have, like, a small iron farm that's 1 block wide. It's probably one of my favorite mods.
That's pretty cool.
You, Grant?
Yeah, I think that sounds really cool. Maybe they could implement that in some way.
No, free the villagers. Free them. They deserve this crap. We have oppressed the villagers in every way possible, and why? What makes us better than them? What makes you feel superior to the villagers? What makes you think that
they're NPCs.
I have not thought about that yet. Okay, well, there goes my argument. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of arguments, things that Andrew wants to talk about, we have a next topic. Oh gosh, it's falling apart. I didn't know how to segue that either. I gotta get better at these. So, now, Andrew, why don't you explain to the audience, what's going on?
I recently played an indie game that I'll probably leave in the description to this episode on YouTube if you want to check it out. To my video, of course, not to the game. But yeah, it's on Steam for free, actually. It's called Dr. Lengaskov, the Tiger and the Terribly Cursed Emerald. Yeah, it's an indie game, and usually I would give a description. All I'm going to say is it's very funny, it's unexpected, and if I were to say pretty much anything about the game, I'd ruin it. So it's free. Oh, also, if you're worried about a content warning, it's perfectly fine from my recollection. So just
cool.
If you have Steam and a computer and no money or money, it doesn't matter. It's free. You could go get it.
That sounds pretty cool.
Highly.
How long would you say it takes to play through the game?
15 to 20 minutes. It's
dang.
short.
Oh yeah,
it's an experience. It's not really a game.
Yeah,
it's
wow.
It's like a quick experience, but it's very interesting.
Yeah,
it's
like an interactive story, huh?
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I'll check that out sometime. Like a neat little thing.
Not expecting anything, and I'm so glad I did because it turned out very well. So you should go in the same. But yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'll probably check that out sometime. Maybe like a Thursday or Friday or whenever when I have free time. So now we have gotten to the point in the show where Andrew will give us the serious minute. Andrew, why don't you explain yourself?
Yes. So,
segues are horrible today.
Yeah, basically every week we do a serious minute, and the way this works is I will be timed to a minute. So we say go if you don't want to be serious today, if you just want the fun, goofy goober side of this podcast, then you would skip exactly 1 minute ahead and be saved from the seriousness. And today's serious minute, usually they're more like the news, kind of like something that's really happening. This is going to be a very different type of serious minute, and it's a little bit outdated, but it's just something I wanted to bring up. So
go for
it. I will pull up my timer and then we'll get right into it. Yes. Now, so wait, hold on. Wait, everyone stop. Don't actually skip ahead yet. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1. Then we're gonna go. Okay.
Too late. They've already skipped. They've already gone to my sports section.
3, 2, 1, go. So today I wanted to talk about an artist that I've liked for a very long time. She's a Norwegian artist. Dina Norlund is her name, and she has been making various comic books. She's done self-publishing. She's just an artist I've been very fond of on the internet for a while. And in mid-2020, she had mentioned that she had been taking a break from social media, the YouTube side of her art business, to focus on other things because she had recently received a cancer diagnosis.
Oh, dang.
This is a bit delayed now, but about a week ago, I just wanted to do this to mention that she has sadly passed away. This is something I had wanted to do just to, I guess, bring light to her work. You can buy on Amazon now her newest comic, The Snowcat Prince. All of her art was really good, and she's decently not well known. So I figured if that's something you enjoy, if you enjoy either just art in general or that sort of thing, check her out. But yeah.
Well, we are very sorry for her passing, and she seemed like a really cool artist. I'll definitely look into that after. You can show me which ones you like. Oh wait, really quick, are they in English? Are the comics in English?
Yes, it's all in English.
Okay, I don't know Norwegian. Yeah, I think they have it on Duolingo. I'll learn it if I have to.
But yeah, I guess now that it's past the serious minute, go ahead. I would recommend her work, Dina Norlund. You can find it anywhere. I'll probably link her most recent thing. I might actually buy it myself because Anyway, that's a bit of an unconventional serious minute. But
right. Well, we appreciate you bringing light to her really cool artwork. So another thing I wanted to talk about. This kind of comes from my heart a little bit. It's not anything about my personal life. No, it's not. But it's not really anything new. Not really anything breaking news or anything. There's not any breaking news examples of this happening today. But I wanted to talk about the phenomenon of YouTube channels and how they die, specifically new cast phenomenon. So as many followers of the show know, which at this point we don't have many, but if people looking back on this, I doubt I'll change in the future, know that I'm a very big racing fan. I love NASCAR, Formula One, IndyCar, but Formula One there's a very awesome Formula One podcast out there called WTF1. It was really fun. It was always run by Tom Bellingham, the founder, and then Matt, who was kind of like the lead host kind of guy, and had this really great sense of humor. And then Katie Fairman, the author, who did because it wasn't just a YouTube channel. They had the YouTube channel, they had the podcast, and then they had articles. and she'd write most of those, I think. And so, the three of them just had a great dynamic. It was really great, and that was a beautiful vocabulary there. It was just a really awesome thing. I'd always look forward to it, like just listening to it when I'm doing something else after every Formula One race. They normally published it on Mondays after the Sunday of the race. But then they got bought out. And I'm sure a lot of our fan base is Minecraft fans, so it's a bit of a Mojang Microsoft situation. They got bought out by a bigger company, and they had been bought out for a little while, but recently, I think it was November or December, maybe January. I'm pretty sure it's December. But they, the old cast, which we all so dearly loved, left. Now, we don't really know if perhaps they were removed or perhaps they both, and specifically it was just Matt and Tommy. Katie stayed there. But they left, and we don't really know why. We don't know on whose ends or why they left, or if they left or if they got fired. We don't know. But they replaced it with a new cast. Now, I love the new cast. New cast it's good. It's good. I like it. But there's something to be said for the dynamic of the old cast. And you can take that sentence and just apply it to a lot of different things. And while this is a bit of a lengthy backstory, I thought it was important to give context for what we're going to discuss in the next few minutes. But yeah, basically the new cast, they're very good. They have decent humor, and they do a good job with covering all the latest Formula One news, but they're just not the old cast, which raises a question. How important is a cast? Do we watch a podcast or a YouTube channel or whatever for the host, or do we watch it for the content? Now, a lot of people in this particular instance watched it for the hosts because they were fun and lively and energetic, and they always made Formula One really fun, and they were they were just awesome. And they did act
really talented. Like, if you can make talking about moving in a circle for an hour, if you can make that fun, that's impressive.
Oh yeah, I could totally do that. So I guess they're as good as me. But they're really fun. Even if you're not a Formula One fan, just go and watch some of those old 2022 season WTF1 podcasts. Those were so much fun. And now I'm not trying to plug. They don't know me at all. They didn't pay me or whatever to say this. It's coming from the heart, like I said. But they actually made their own podcast. They sidestepped WTF1, which by that point, like I said, had basically just been bought out by the other company. And they basically sidestepped that and create their own podcast, which I've been listening to. And I don't really watch WTF1 anymore. I only watch it's called the P1 podcast, I think with Matt and Tommy. And yeah, that's what I listen to now, which proves that, and they're the same. They haven't changed. And so that proves that in this particular instance, the hosts do matter more than just the content and just the news. Can you guys, ask you a few questions here. One, do you agree with my statement that the hosts basically can make or break a subject matter? And two, do you have any examples of your own? And three, if so, what are they? Explain and just, give your thoughts. What do you guys think?
And yes. See, that's a yes to all those questions. So.
Same here. Andrew,
you guys have any
first?
Andrew, you go first.
Okay. So first off, yes, I completely agree. My main example, which it's a bad example in one way or another, but there's a podcast I really liked. It was a Pokemon-related podcast called the Shadowless Podcast. I listened to it religiously throughout 2020 because we were in lockdown. I remember I'd always at one point in the day I'd go outside, get in my hammock, and listen to the newest episode. But at the end of their 2020 season, their first season, they announced they're going to be getting a new host. And I know who this host is. I don't want to mention it because I want to be cool or whatever, because I'm sure she's a great person, but she's just not someone whose content I like, because I just it's just not for me or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I know this is going to be bad, so I'm just not going to listen to the next, and I've never listened to it since.
You said that was a bad example, but that basically sounds like what I've experienced with my own F1 or with my F1 podcast, because it sounds like she is very good, and I've never listened to the Shadowless podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, just this in both cases, the new hosts are good and they're fine. And if they made, and heck, I'd go so far to say as if they made their own podcast, I'd listen to that. But the fact is, they're just not the old cast, and it's not in a good or bad way. They're just not the old cast.
And that's what I think a lot of podcast people need to understand is that, when you have a podcast with that kind of a thing, there's a difference. Like, okay, for instance, why would you say listen to a podcast versus just watch a 15-minute video about all the stuff that went down in Pokemon? Because these aren't experts. This is just for my example. These two people, they're not experts. They're just guys who like Pokemon. It's not like a breakdown news thing. People aren't watching this really for just the information. Otherwise, they don't care. They're watching it for the dynamic between these people. And it's not necessarily the host. It's more the dynamic. You could have two stellar hosts, but if their dynamic sucks, you're not going to go anywhere. And I think that's what a lot of podcasters don't understand. It kind of seems like every friend group of guys nowadays is starting a podcast. I mean, how much of a nerd do you have to be to try to start a podcast?
Imagine starting a podcast. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Who would listen to that?
Just a cringe, you know.
Yeah, total cringe.
Agreed.
Anybody who does that, just absolute loser, for real.
Also, another example, this seems to be a plague on like Pokemon for some reason, but there's another one I watched called Special Conditions, and I stopped watching it on its own, but I go back recently. I'm like, all right, I'll check it out, and I go back to the new one, and I'm like, as I hear the normal intro, this guy goes, and Sam, or whatever it sounds from, and I was like, who's Sam? And he goes, what's up, guys? I'm like, who's that? No, what have you done? And they had just shelved one of the hosts and brought on this new one. And I was like, man, that does stink. Oh, classic example of this, the Baited podcast, which is an old podcast from like 2016, which was like super internet famous at the time because it involved like Keemstar. But the original three hosts fought so much that one of the hosts like kicked the other two out of his business model because one of them suggested that they get a three-way split of the revenue instead of
money.
Money. One guy would get 50%, and then the other two would like each get 25, and he thought that wasn't fair. That they all should get even split. And the guy was so mad that he would even suggest that. This was Keemstar who got mad, obviously, because he's a gnome. But that's his nickname, by the way. I'm not being,
Okay. I was like, yo, don't hate on the short guys.
No, people call him a gnome because he has this big red hat he wears too to play into the joke. They call him a rat. That's what rat is. The other one people call him. Yeah, but I would never hit on the short guys. I myself am actually 6'3". For all the audio listeners. Just to keep it.
Sure he is. Yep.
6'3". I'm very tall, and everyone knows that I'm tall. But
yeah, we all do.
But yeah, I guess greed is bad, but they weren't even being greedy. They were just suggesting that maybe the split be more fair, and he was so upset that he cut them out of the podcast, and he new hosts who were terrible. Like they just maybe it was a good podcast, but it was just like I came for this dynamic, and you've ruined it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching it, and then.
And I don't think. Oh well, John. Do you have anything? Because I was basically just going to wrap it up. John, do you have any examples?
Oh, good. Kinda. Have you guys heard of Dope or Nope?
I see, maybe like once.
Yes. I know of them. They're part of that like big multi-channel network, right?
Yeah. They actually started. They were the ones who started it. They have switched hosts. Only one of the hosts, so the original creator, has stayed on. And they have switched hosts, I think, 3 times in a row.
Dang, that's not even...
Mainly because the co-hosts want to move on with their life and are like, hey, we've enjoyed the time that we've had, but we want to move on to our own career. which is totally...
I'm going to be honest, that sounds like such cope. That sounds like I kicked you out. You have to say this now if you want to get your severance pay.
Yeah, it does.
Andrew was not falling for that, bro. He did not take that. He did not take that.
It's not that good anymore, because it's just like the one dude now. So it's just not as good.
Well, I mean, how can you have dope or nope without one dope guy and one nope guy? I'm assuming that's what it's about. Like, one guy just says dope, the other one says nope. Is that how?
The way that it works is that they buy a bunch of products off of the internet and then rate it on dope or nope.
No, I think I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. It's just an hour of a guy saying dope and a guy saying nope.
Nope, dope, nope.
Nope, dope, nope, nope.
Dope.
What is that multi-channel network called, by the way? Or that guy who made it? Was like Matthias or whatever? Is that him?
Yeah, I can't remember it. But I know he does, like, super weird stuff nowadays.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I used to watch at one point when they had like a Nerf battle channel that I watched back in ye olden days.
Oh my gosh, I remember that channel. Oh,
Battle Universe.
Canceled it, too.
They did COVID because they couldn't make the videos anymore. And I was like, but guys, don't cancel it. Just stop making videos and then come back once COVID's over. Like, lads, it's that easy, but they canceled it. But I want to make a main channel video about like a video essay about just that whole network, because I think like the twists and turns that started with like a dope or nope whatever, that became like all of these other smaller channels turned into a multi-network. They did turn into like a weird low budget ARG. I think just that whole thing is just fascinating. Ooh, you and I need to collab, John.
What, your mic cut out? What?
Oh, I said, John, you and I need to make an epic collaborative video essay.
Oh wow, there you go.
I'm guessing you remember 863.
Was that his thing?
Yes, it was. Oh, I got hooked into that so badly during 2020, during the 2020 era, because I was starved for content.
Oh, the 2020 era was bad, dude. But yeah, I think you and I can make a pretty banger video essay on that. Grant, I don't know if you have any much, what's it called? Do you know who these people are that we're talking about, or do we just sound like raving lunatics?
No, but in order to avoid this podcast going on too long, okay, you can tell me after.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, in conclusion, to conclude this point, I just did a little bit of on-the-spot research, and we are not the only ones who feel this way about that the hosts really can make or break content, because the P1 channel joined January 10th, 2023. The day of this recording is March 20th, 2023, and over the past 2.5-ish months, not really, more like 2-ish months, they've gained 323,000 subscribers. So, that's kind of a lot for a new channel, isn't it, Andrew? As someone who runs a new channel, you'd know, wouldn't it? In case you're saying something, you're muted.
Yeah. I was gonna say yes, I do know about that. I'm grinding though. I have more channels.
Yeah, you're on the upload grind.
And I've so far recorded 20 episodes of a Skyrim series that isn't even made public yet. So.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, just to conclude that point, we are not the only ones who feel this way, because a lot of people jump ship from the old to the new. So the next thing I think we should hit now is the sports segment of the podcast. This is run by myself, of course. And yeah, I basically just invented this because I'm a huge sports fan. And yeah, I'm basically just going to keep you guys all updated on the world of sports in 2023. World of American sports, I should clarify, because I basically just cover American sports and a little bit of international. You'll see. But the big news of at least American sports, again, the sports world is March Madness, the NCAA men's basketball tournament, Division I, which almost captivates a nation, I'd say, for 3 weeks. Maybe that's a bit of an overstatement, but personally I don't think it is. It's been really big in my house. We do brackets every year. And so I just wanted to cover a few points from the big takeaways from the March Madness first and second rounds which just ended as of the recording of this podcast. Fairleigh Dickinson University just upset number 1 Purdue in the first round. This is widely considered the biggest upset in March Madness history because they didn't even win their conference. The only reason they're in over the winners was because the winners hadn't actually made their full transition to Division I yet, which is crazy. So they didn't even win their conference, and they just took down the number 1 seed in their region, or their like little mini bracket. And so they just took them down, and it's such a big upset just because they didn't win their conference, and they're also the shortest average team in the tournament. So this is a win for the Short Kings out there.
Yeah, I mean, no, not yay. Nah, yeah, good for them, not me. Good for them. Sorry.
Yeah, as a dispassionate tall person, you can agree, can't you, Andrew?
6'3" tall person. I'm very tall.
All right, well, the real tall ones don't brag about it. So another one is number 15 Princeton stuns number 2 Arizona by winning by just 4 points in the first round, knocking them out. Looking at the stats, the teams played almost identically. They were literally just neck and neck. And even at halftime, the score was only a 1 point difference in Arizona's favor. So that is not good news. The fact that you and a number 2 seed and number 15 seed were playing about the same in a game is not very good for Arizona. But good for Princeton. And then they further beat number 7 Missouri, putting a number 15 seed in the Sweet 16 is not easy, but they managed to do that, going a little bit of a win streak. They play Thursday, I think, so listeners will know if the Cinderella Story team can be one of the top 8 in USA, top 8 men's basketball D1 teams in the USA, or at least colleges. There's so much to cover. They played like they played like a lot of games this past week, really. And there's so much to cover. I could go on for days and days about it. Not quite, but still. But the one other thing I wanted to touch on is just the Sweet 16 games that are coming up. Tennessee versus Florida Atlantic, Kansas State versus Michigan State, UConn versus Arkansas, UCLA versus Gonzaga, Alabama and San Diego State, Creighton versus Princeton, Houston versus Miami, and Texas versus Xavier. So yeah, those, if you picked, for your bracket, if you picked any of those teams, well, congrats, because they're still in it. And so at the end of the sports, we'll get to it, Andrew. Just chill out, okay? Just keep your shirt on. Hold on. So a few other things that happened this past weekend. The USA baseball team crushed Cuba in the World Baseball Classic semifinals, and they will play the winner of Mexico versus Japan for the crown. The USA won it last time, so I haven't really been following it too closely, but yeah, I know they're the reigning champs of the WBC, so hope old Uncle Sam can pull off another dub and go back-to-back. Joey Logano went from 5th to 1st on the last lap to win Atlanta Superspeedway's and Better 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series, taking it away from underdog Brad Keselowski. Those two are former teammates, old rivals, not really, friendly rivals. And we all really wanted Brad to win, but as a Joey Logano fan, that's pretty cool to see. So good for him. He's in the playoffs now. And finally, oh gosh, here I was dreading this name in research. Frank Cassis, I butchered that. His last-minute goal pushed Barcelona FC past Real Madrid and to win the El Clasico game last Sunday. If you're not a Spanish soccer fan, one, I don't blame you because it's a little niche. But two, yeah, that's a big freaking deal. The Barcelona's the number 1 spot, and Real Madrid's number 2. Those two have had a historic rivalry. That's why every time they play, they call it El Clasico, and it's just such a big deal. So it was big for Barcelona to get that win. Both teams played really well. I watched that game, and they did play really well, to Real Madrid's credit. But Barcelona was a little bit better. I think they do have the better team with Lewandowski and Gavi and all those guys. They're pretty good. And with that win, they basically just kind of locked up the La Liga 2023 title for the spring. So congrats to them. Okay. Well, I was out of breath. But I've been putting this off long enough. So yes, Andrew, let me explain. Let me explain this, not you. So yes, we are doing a bracket challenge, the three of us. And so I picked. I have 2 points here. Okay, 2 points. A big win and a big loss. So let's start with the big loss. Yes, my championship pick was Purdue. Yes, it was the biggest upset in NCAA history. Yes, they've been upset by the lower than the number 13 seed for the third straight year. You don't need to remind me. Yeah, maybe that wasn't the best pick, but they were the number 1 seed, so I had reason to believe they were going to do pretty well.
I also had them going to the championship.
John also had them winning. So Andrew is in a good position. But before you say it, because I know you're really jumping to say it, I also picked Princeton over Arizona. Go ahead and not believe me. There's no reason I'd lie about this. But I picked Princeton over Arizona. I did. It was a big dub. No, I didn't have them going to the Sweet 16. But yes, I just want to get that out there, that my bracket was not a total bust this year. And I did have one big dub. I picked the number 15 seed going over the number 2 seed, and they did. So, yay, big dub. Okay, Andrew. I'll let you have this now. You there? You there?
Oh yeah, I'm there.
All right, say it. Say it. Yep, we got you.
Oh, no.
Sweet. That's what's gonna happen. Xavier is going to take this home. No matter how it happens, does not matter. It is going to happen, and there is no stopping it. I knew this. Something in my blood told me to pick the big blue X, and I'm so glad I did. Xavier is taking this home, no matter what.
Yep. Well, yeah, his team is still in. Me and John are both out, so he's winning our little league. But hey, if Xavier loses this game, I think I have enough good picks to where I may be able to pull off an underdog dub. I'm gonna try.
Xavier ain't winning this one, boys.
Xavier better lose this time though, because if they go any further, Andrew's gonna have enough points to win. But if they lose this game, this upcoming game, I don't even know when it's being played. I should look. But
at like 2:40, I'm watching it by far.
I'm
so excited.
If they lose this game, then I have a chance. I have a chance, ladies and gentlemen. I can do this.
I've already shaken with one of my friends, other friends, that if Xavier wins the championship, we both have handshake promised. We're gonna both buy Xavier merch.
Really?
Yeah, if they win.
That is great.
But yeah, I'm in 2 brackets. I'm in this bracket for TLNROM. Also, by the way, if you're watching out there and you are the random guy who joined our bracket, we're not going to kick you because, 1, we don't know how, and
why?
2,
why did you join?
Why? Yeah, I would feel bad if it was like their only bracket, but we're crushing you anyway, so, you know.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah, there is some random dude in our league, that's true.
Freaking Jake Ashford, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, if you find your way to this podcast, get out of our league.
No one knows.
No, we don't. We all ask each other.
There's no way.
Yeah, we have no idea who he is. You didn't need to dox him like that, but dang, okay.
It's hard. Okay, come on. That's why they have a real name. I hope not.
That's true. Watch it secretly be John's burner. John, explain yourself. I think it's John's burner. I think it's John's burner account.
You moonlight as James.
Yes. John has an alt.
I have 70 alternative accounts.
You fool. I have 70 alternative accounts. Oh, that's a good one.
I'm also in another bracket though with like 40 plus people, and last night I was first place. My friend texted me, was like, dude, you're in first. So I was like, what? Because Xavier is sweeping this. They've been ordained by the fates themselves to win this.
Went all the way to ancient Greece and found them.
Yeah, back in a lot of old ancient Greek texts, they prophesied about Xavier winning.
You can find it right there.
It's literally in the Iliad.
In Ovid's Metamorphoses, it's right there. I'm pretty sure that's Roman. I'm a massive idiot, but yeah, I don't know. That might have been that's Roman. Okay, well I'm just dumb. So let's move on.
Doesn't matter really.
So.
Oh, this is exciting, actually. I think.
Yes. So now we go to the spooky story of the week. Andrew,
the spooky segment.
Spooky segment. That's right.
This is the scary story of the spooky segment, which is a new weekly thing. And just to keep everyone reminded, since it's fresh.
I was just about to tell you. Yeah.
Last week said I do cryptids, John does SCPs, and Grant does scary stories. So, is there any content warnings for this one, or?
No. It's actually pretty harmless for a scary story.
Yeah, tune in for that, and it's gonna basically whoever is hosting the episode does it. Now go, Grant. Sorry, I should have shut up a long time ago.
It's okay. It's okay. You had to explain. This one isn't like violent or anything, but it is kind of creepy, or not even creepy. It's just like interesting. So as students of American history know, Gettysburg was one of the worst. It was probably the worst. Really, Antietam was, but Gettysburg is one of the most famous and one of the worst battles in American history. And I think pretty much every American kid has had a drill in their heads by now of how bloody and gruesome it was. Well, something about that town must just be off or whatever, because there are a lot of stories in Gettysburg. Like Andrew told me I was doing the spooky story this week, and I just kind of thought, like, hey, what about a Gettysburg story? Because there's just a lot of weird paranormal occurrences there. Some, are they real? Are they fake? I don't know. I've never visited. So this story I'm about to read may not even be real. A lot of these are made up by the staff or whatever at this particular school. But Stevens Hall is now a stately neoclassical dorm, and it was built in 1868 as a preparatory school for girls. In the 1870s, a few girls from the school befriended a boy from town, and the boy lived in an abusive household. But one day in the dead of winter, the boy escaped his abusive home and found refuge in the girls' room on the second floor, which is a bad look already. But to make things worse, the headmistress came around to the rooms to check on the girls before bed. And obviously, if she walks in, she's going to see the boy. Then in a girls' dorm, that's going to be mad sus. So in a rush, the girls just stuck him outside on the ledge of the window, and because they didn't have anywhere else to put him. And then they shut the window, and he was out there on the second floor, just standing out there in the cold, probably not with a coat on. And so he was freezing out there. So she took her time talking to the young women, and she did not leave the room until nearly an hour later. So this guy spent an hour out in the freezing Pennsylvania winter, dead of night winter, winter night, in Gettysburg. So obviously he was pretty cold. And so they threw the window open to look for the boy, but all that was left were small footprints on the snow of the ledge. They ran outside to see if he had fallen, but the boy was nowhere to be found. And to this day, here's the weird part, to this day, sightings of a boy in the window, blue in the face as if frozen, are common among residents of Stevens Hall, which is very interesting. I'm not really going to open this up for discussion because there's not really a lot to say. But yeah, they call him the Blue Boy, and it's a really interesting story. On a night you can look out there, and according to the residents of Stevens Hall, you might just see a freezing 1870s boy who was stuck out in the cold for just a little too long. To be fair, I know my segues have been off, but to be fair, these are some really hard to connect topics. But the next one we were going to, Andrew, you're muted again, dude. But the next we were okay. But yes, this was the spooky segment. And so the next, I'm not even going to try to make up some cringy speaking of segue. Like, honestly, there's pretty much no connection. But the next thing we want to talk about is the relative resurgence of racing anime. So as many anime fans know, Initial D is iconic. Okay, it's one of the greatest out there. The classic Tokyo street racing. I'm not sure if they're in Tokyo. Oh man, I don't know. They're somewhere in Japan. The street racers at night. There are games made off of it. There's a Roblox game called Midnight Racing Tokyo, which I've really enjoyed as of the past few months. And so that's a legendary piece. But going back further, the thing is, car anime was actually one of the first genres to be produced. I mean, here in America we call them speed racer, but that was back in the 1960s. Speed Racer was one of the first car anime, one of the first anime in general. And so throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, really a lot in the 80s. There's a lot in the 80s. 80s, and then right around that late 90s, there were a lot of them produced. And then into the 2000s, they just kind of stopped making them. They just didn't really, I don't know, I guess they just thought that the market was oversaturated and they wanted to move to something different. But they kind of stopped making, or at least they stopped making good ones that, actually got people's attention. But now, in 2023, there's been quite a resurgence, I've noticed. There's 3 new ones coming out. And as a racing fan, I was really hyped to hear this. I'm definitely going to check these out. So the first one I want to tackle is MF Ghost. It's a street racing anime. I'm pretty sure it comes out sometime in summer 2023. That's the latest news. And a lot of people are drawing comparisons to Initial D. It might be the Initial D of the 2020s. I don't know if it's actually has anything to do with the story there. But a quick look at the trailer and you can see if this goes well, this could be one of the classics. Do you guys think you're going to check that out or whatever? I think it looks really cool.
I mean, I might. I'm not a big racing anime guy, but then again, I'm not really something really tested out much, so I don't know. But I mean, I'd give it a try if I can get it for free somewhere,
Yeah, and that's the thing. If I can get it for free, that's gonna make or break whether or not I see it.
Pretty.
And they also have to more of the officials. They also have another street racing one called High Drivers, and this one looks wild. As of this recording, they've only released one music video, but the animation style and just the graphics of it, they're just beautiful. I mean, it clearly has a pretty high animation budget. So again, just don't screw this up, and this could be really good. There's not really a lot to say here. I'd like to talk more, but I mean, it was one 4-minute long music video 5 months ago. So that's pretty cool. I'm also pumped for that. And then they also have the third one. That's again, there's just a big resurgence right now. That's called Overtake. It's Formula 4. It's based on Japanese Formula 4 racing, which is really cool. And it's basically just going to follow the story of a young guy who is trying to make his way in the Formula 4 world, try and move his way up to eventually probably racing in Formula 1 someday. If we can get a Yuki Tsunoda cameo, that would be really cool. He's a Japanese F1 driver, and if he was in an episode, I think that'd be so cool. So yeah, those are 3 that I wanted to talk about. I know you guys probably won't have much to say, but do you guys want to say anything?
I don't know much on this topic specifically, so John, if you do, go. But also, Grant, I wanted to ask, you have finished an anime recently that we've been talking about quite a bit on this podcast.
Oh, yes, The Promised Neverland. Yeah, I finished season 1. Man, that was good.
Season 2 is not worth it.
That's what Andrew told me. Season 2 is bad. It's that makes me sad. It was so good.
Have you started watching Erased, by the way? Because that's an amazing anime.
I have. Okay. I've started. So far, I'm 3 episodes in. Stuff's getting real. I think it's a solid. B or A tier.
If you'll let the ending theme play fully, listen to the whole thing, because it is it is it slaps, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's good.
In my own personal ranking so far, I think it's probably a B tier, so worth the check, if you, after the podcast, if you want to go and check that out.
For good, lads, because it gets worse the farther it goes. Like, it gets better and better and better, and, like, the last episode or two is like that.
So. Oh, dang. Well,
yeah,
I'll still keep watching it anyway.
It's really good, and then it does the Full Metal Alchemist,
Ooh.
Oh, whoa there, hold on.
Yo, is it that bad?
High heresy. Wait a minute. What do you mean the Full Metal Alchemist?
You know how the Full Metal Alchemist
I mean, I can't explain it right now.
I just remembered.
Yeah. Oof,
okay,
man, the FMA ending
was
rough.
It's much worse than FMA. Because FMA, the ending of FMA is not bad. It's just a couple things were corny.
It's just
and it was
cringy.
a little anticlimactic. It's just the difference in that and this is this just kind of previous plot points.
Huh. Right. Okay, well, I guess I'll keep watching this start for myself.
Yeah, still worth it.
All right, well, I think we've kept everyone's attentions long enough. This is a bit of a longer one, I guess, but I'm thinking this might just become the standard. I think we might just
keep these. This is a good amount of time. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go like an hour 30 minutes is too long, but I think 45 is too short.
We originally wanted them to be about 50 minutes, but I don't think that's enough time. Like, this was, like, we didn't even have that many topics, and this just kind of flowed. This was good. But yeah, we are.
I do want to mention something
before we go. Do we have any final thoughts? Final thoughts.
I'm pretty excited about this, actually. Most likely, if y'all are watching this, y'all have seen the gameplay in the last episode that we did. It was the first one with the visual for anyone who wants to watch it on YouTube. I'm pretty excited. I've recorded a few very long videos. Most likely, if you're watching this, y'all have been watching me build a boat for the past hour. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed that, because I feel I've checked my footage is like the perfect length for this episode.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Let us know what you think of it in the comments. Do you want to? Yeah. We can find you.
Well.
I guess.
Yeah. Andrew, you can check him out. SuperSpartoi.
The description. Also,
yeah.
If you check down there, you have John's Twitch, my YouTube, and my Twitch. So,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yippee-ki-yay.
My voice is about spent, so I'll keep my final thoughts short and sweet. I forgot water again, so I've been in my room for an hour talking for an hour with no water.
Please subscribe.
Hydrate or nitrate.
But I'm gonna keep mine short. I thought it was good. Short and generic. I thought it was good. Yeah, so that sentence just kind of died. But yeah, I thought it was good. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, you're awesome. John, final thoughts?
I got nothing.
Then just smile and wave. Just say it was good,
Yeah.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Come on.
It really was a good episode.
Have the Penguins of Madagascar taught us nothing?
Episode, didn't we?
What's that?
I said we really did film this episode.
We sure did. Do you mind if I give them a little teaser or something to come?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right.
So we might at one point tell you guys our process for making an episode, but that's not a thing yet. But I have.
Wait, we have a process for making a video?
I sure don't.
And kinda, we come up with topics, and then Brent puts a list. That's the process. There's no other process.
Okay.
Like the recording is not. Anyway, we have a topic that we've kicked around that I think that might be a very long one that we've hinted at talking about in past episodes. They're like, no, we don't want to talk about that. That could take up a whole episode. It involves Minecraft, but it's not a gaming podcast, though. We got to reassure you.
Not a gaming podcast.
This is not a gaming podcast, and don't say it is, because it isn't. Yeah. I don't have much. Oh yeah. If you're on Spotify or somewhere else, please give us a star rating, preferably like 5 stars, but whatever you think we deserve.
Yeah, give us a 5-star rating because we're worth it.
We are worth it. And if you want to see more of us, please subscribe if you're on YouTube. Like, comment, all that good deal, notifications.
Yeah. All right, well.
You should close this one.
Sounds like a good deal. Yeah, if you made it this far, you're really awesome. Thanks for watching all this. And yeah, we will see you guys next time on Friday, 2:32 a.m. That's not when it's gonna get uploaded, I don't think. But yeah, we'll see you guys next Friday, and until then, have a good week, and we will see you later. Bye.